From a farm boy in a small town to a gold mining legend, this is how Tony Beets conquered the Klondike. Let's dive in. Tony Beets is probably the most well-known farmer to come from the small village of Wijijana's Netherlands. His journey from a simple farming life to becoming a gold mining legend in Canada is remarkable. At just 23 years old, Tony decided it was time for a change. The weather in the Netherlands was miserable, and he saw no future in staying. So he made the bold decision to leave for Canada. But he wasn't alone in this adventure. At 22, his friend Minnie had already committed to making the leap. One day, Tony visited home and announced that he was going to Canada. Minnie, without hesitation, decided to accompany him. From there, their journey was set in motion. Legend has it that when Tony and Minnie arrived in British Columbia, they had only $300 between them and didn't speak a word of English. They had no idea what was ahead, but they were determined to make it work. Tony's first job was in Salmon Arm, British Columbia, and it was exactly what he had done his entire life, working with cows. For just $4 an hour, he put in the hard work, proving that he wasn't afraid to start from the bottom. He learned English on construction sites, picking up words as he worked. The weather is sure miserable here, isn't it? Oh, it's horrible, but I didn't see my life as a farmer, so I decided wisest thing to do was just call it quit. Get the hell out and go do something else. Best thing we did was pick up our bags, get the hell out, and go to Canada. Years later, Tony and Minnie are still in Canada, having built a life far beyond what they could have imagined for themselves. But there is more to the story. While working with cows, Tony soon realized that this wasn't the future he wanted. He had already taken the risk of leaving the Netherlands, so why stop there? Word had spread that Canada had great opportunities, and Tony wanted in. In 1981, he arrived in Dawson City with big dreams. He had heard about a local gold mining company named Tamarack and figured it was worth a shot. At first, things weren't easy. Tony asked for a chance at the company and even volunteered to work for free for a few months. During this time, Tony proved his passion for mining. To him, dirt moving came naturally. He worked 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, and that lasted for the full 6 months with no days off. Not everybody can do that. On top of that, he would make sure that he got to the site first and was the last person to leave. Dirt movement came natural. Equipment came natural. 7 days a week, 14 hours a day, and that lasted for the full 6 months. No days off, no problem. Not everybody can do that. This attitude would surely pay off in the long run. Back home, with the Beets babies arriving one after another, Tony knew that being just a machine operator wasn't going to cut it. He needed to get up on top of the ladder. He chose to always learn something new every day, and that's how he managed to do it. Slowly by slowly, he and his wife built up their piggy bank, and things fell into place. After years of backbreaking work, grit, and determination, Tony bought Tamarack, the very company that gave him his first shot at the mining industry. Over time, the Beets became known not just for their success, but for Tony's bold personality. In Season 2 of Gold Rush, Tony was introduced to the world. At the time, a struggling gold miner, Todd Hoffman, came knocking, hoping Tony could help turn his fortunes around. Looking back on that day for the first time in many years, Tony remembered it well. He had been down at Quartz Creek getting started on stripping the land. Tony was blunt. To him, mining wasn't for dreamers. It was about strategy and hard work. Even Todd admitted to loving what Tony had told him regarding the mining business. Tony had told him to never mind the authorities, the neighbors, or anyone else. If the land was his, he could do whatever he wanted to do. To Tony, one thing was certain. He knew right away who had what it took to make it in the mining world. Whoever didn't waste time on wishful thinking, drilled, worked, and made sure that every single decision counted could endure anything in the mining business. And that was just the beginning of his journey on Gold Rush. Regarding Tony's first meetup, mixed feelings. At first, Tony thought he was nice and appreciated his zeal for joining the mining business, and for that, Tony gave him credit for trying. But eventually, things went south for Todd. To Tony, Todd had big dreams, but lacked the experience to back them up. He was willing to do whatever it took, borrow, trade, and even take risks most wouldn't to make it work. I mean, you still look at it as a guy that is trying and taking chances, you know. And so people that give it the effort and that take chances, they deserve a certain amount of credit. Without him, there wouldn't have been a gold rush. Tony respected the effort, but he knew mining wasn't just about ambition. By the time Gold Rush reached its third season, Tony had solidified his reputation as the man with the Midas touch. Like Todd, a young Parker Schnabel approached Tony, hoping to learn a few trade secrets. Young Parker had heard that one could make $000 a weekend, so that's what he went off to do. Reflecting on his memories with Tony, Parker recalled seeing so much gold in a pan. From Tony's perspective, he had met with a teenager who would become such a big part of his mining story. This is because Tony described Parker as a smart kid who knew what he wanted and went after it. And there is more. Being a down-to-earth person, Tony was not the kind of guy to sugarcoat anything. He believed that one was not going to get anywhere in the business unless they were willing to dig in and work hard. Parker took that advice to heart, proving he wasn't just another kid playing in the dirt. He was serious about gold mining. Digging into the early years of their relationship, Monica Beets revealed a surprising secret. She and Parker had a bit of a date once. Yes. During one of the seasons of Gold Rush, the miners were really trying to get Parker and Monica to meet, so they flew her up to Hannes for the weekend. Monica recalled them going out to have fun and grabbing some food. However, Tony, always protective, had his own thoughts on the matter. He had to make sure that Parker wasn't just chasing after his daughter. But being a young and ambitious man, Parker was all about the work. At the time, Monica had a boyfriend, and Parker was laser-focused on gold mining and getting advice from Tony. To Tony, from an early age, Parker stood out. He wasn't like others who just sat around talking about their dreams. He actually went out and made things happen, with a lot of people just sitting around complaining and whining. Tony said that Parker wasn't like that. He got up and did something about it. That's the kind of attitude that Tony admired, since to him that's what builds countries. That's what keeps mining alive. It's not about whining. It's about working hard and making things happen. What did you think when you first met him? Smart kid. I noticed that right away. Very interested in the mining. He had the balls for it, so to speak. Over the years, Tony's grit and hard work made him a lot of money. In one of the seasons, Tony found himself in luck after discovering an abandoned mobile trommel. In the remote Yukon wilderness, Beets received a lead about an abandoned mobile trommel deep in the forest. Recognizing the potential to boost his mining season, he decided to invest approximately $400,000 to get the trommel operational again. This move was not only influenced by the price of gold, but also by the urgent need to boost productivity and ensure a successful mining season despite the setbacks. Unlike the stationary dredges that had to be assembled and rooted in one place, the trommel was an actual moving wash plant. This 35-ton machine was designed and built 30 years before Beets found it by a maverick gold miner. This beauty had a 40-foot drum and ran on wheels, but it had only worked for one season before being abandoned. Knowing its value, Beets did not regret buying it. Upon reaching where the machine was, Beets was impressed by its design and what he knew it could do. Compared to his dredges, this trommel was designed to be a multi-purpose machine. It was designed to be fed with pear directly from the cut, then spit the tailings the other way back. After slewing everything in range, it could move along on 4 giant wheels to a different spot. After a quick examination by a technician, it was declared that the machine still had a high probability of working to Beets. It had to work since he had invested quite the amount. But if it did not work out, he was still comfortable with the loss. But how do they move that vast machine from the middle of the jungle and across a river? Back at Beets' Paradise Hill camp, Len pulled together a 7-man crew and a massive convoy of equipment to pull the trommel back over the 100 meters of mountain road and dirt track. To do this, Beets had to shut down his operation until he got back, costing him over $60 million a day.